right, we are live inside Unmanned Systems Xponential 24 in San Diego, here with Stratum. Could you introduce yourselves and just maybe talk about what your role in Stratum is?
Yeah, so I'm Mark Gordon. I'm president and CEO of Stratum. Responsible for all executive leadership, of course, our strategic direction, and where we're heading with our company and with what we're doing with autonomous ground systems.
Great.
Good morning. I'm Stefan Elsner, senior program manager for unmanned ground vehicles.
Excellent. And I'm Richard Thomas, executive editor inside Unmanned Systems. So how long have you guys been coming to this show for?
Oh, good question. Yeah, we've been very involved with AUVSI for a long period of time. Probably back to 2007 was one of our first shows.
Oh, wow, okay.
Back when there used to be a lot of the DC area quite a bit. So we've been exhibiting here for many, many years. Also, I'm very involved with AUVSI. I've been on the board of directors for AUVSI and was the chairman of the board a couple, 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. And where is the company based?
So we're based out of Colorado, in Louisville, Colorado, so kind of northwest of the Denver, Colorado area.
Interesting, great. So could you tell us a little bit more about your products, services?
Yep. Yeah, so at Stratum we focus on ground robotics, specifically being able to use robotic systems to move heavy cargo around outdoor applications, kind of in more austere environments. And then we also do robotic refueling, so using robotic systems and robotic arms to be able to refuel aircraft and ground vehicles. And then kind of the third component of that is we have Summit, which is our autonomy software that we can apply onto our own vehicles, as well as that we're able to place on other customers' vehicles as well to make them autonomous.
Okay. And so can you talk a little more about what use cases and applications this is driving? Because it sounds like there's quite a range of possibilities.
Yeah, so a lot of our focus is within the Department of Defense, very specifically, helping move cargo around the battlefield in landing zone applications or in forward bases. We're also making a pivot into the commercial world. We see a lot of applicability for what we're doing in the defense area to the mining industry as well as into the yard trucking industry.
Interesting. So it's kind of that defense commercial shift or synergy.
Correct. That's correct. We're taking the technology that we've been developing under our Department of Defense contracts and migrating that into the commercial environment.
Very good. So what sort of, to the extent you can discuss development, funnel and what's coming up in the, what's the next 12 months look like, what's under development?
Yeah, so we've got multiple contracts that we're working right now with the Department of Defense. Again, the heavy focus on the cargo movement component of this, being able to move cargo out of an aircraft and into a landing zone, and then be able to offload that aircraft using these systems. So we have multiple projects, both with the Marine Corps and the Air Force, moving in this nature to continue the development efforts. People have different unique needs, right? So we've got some that are really highly sophisticated, that are doing more autonomous pickup and drop off, and some that are just teleop, that will be able to be a little bit more simpler and be able to take the cargo and drop it off very quickly right outside the aircraft.
Interesting. So since you've been such, kind of long-term members and exhibitors at this show, I'm curious to learn, what for this year in particular, if there are, certain industry trends or, kind of, pivotal moment for a particular type of tech or application area that's really blowing up. Just what would your perspective and your experience?
Yeah, I see, the industry's focused a lot on robotics within the warehouse. And we focus on outside the warehouse, so to speak, right? So we're seeing more of a movement to more austere environments, outdoor conditions. A lot of effort, like I said, has been put into that warehouse area. And so we're starting to see now a trend where, as people are adopting more and more systems, where else can they utilize those systems? Same with our refueling technology. A lot companies are starting to put autonomous yard trucks within their distribution centers, and with that, now they're starting to think about, how do we refuel these at the same time? If we're trying to reduce our expenses and our headcount, right? Then how do we also look at that refueling process?
Right, that can drive tons of efficiencies.
Right.
We're finding that the technology is maturing to a degree where the traditional dull, dirty, dangerous sort of mantra is becoming realized as certain job categories are struggling to attract talent or resources to execute those jobs.
Right. So is that sort of a tech-led change in maybe demographics of what types of skill sets are in demand at different companies, or?
I think it's a skill sets thing, but also a technology trust and maturation, where for years the concept of how these different technologies can be applied has been interesting, but we're now seeing adoption of that technology at scale, and we're starting to see requests come down either through the government or through commercial interests to realize and deploy that technology.
Interesting. Well, thanks. Anything else that you would like to add about for the audience about the show, or some current initiatives, or any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just we've been very involved with the autonomous systems industry for a very long time. We've been longstanding members of AUVSI. I think this is a great show, great opportunity to see all the technology that's out here. From, as we talk about multi-domains, right, from air, land, and sea, we have all that here at the expo. And this is really the area where everybody centers around when they look at autonomous and unmanned systems.
Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thanks for your time.
Nice to meet you.
Where our electronic